The praise continues to pour in for all of my Jacksonville Jag takes. Somebody writes in, should a microphallus hack's opinion matter, crawl back under your rock and have a bag of soggy dicks.
Is that guy?
Wow.
Do they have to be soggy?
I've never heard the insult microphallus.
That sounds like an insult that's in your wheelhouse.
But it sounds like an insult
Like
from
you
the house,
invented it.
like from the House of Commons. Doesn't sound like an insult that people in everyday life use. That person was sculpting an insult.
Will you plan on using it moving forward?
No, I don't like the insult of accusing other people of having small manhoods.
It is silly. What about eating a bag of soggy?
I kind of find it funny.
excessive.
I find it funny they use microphallus right before using soggy dicks.
Okay,
That's pretty funny.
okay. So Roy gives his endorsement to making the penises soggy. Very good. Can we get to in a moment the Brennaman sound that I was promising? Just because we have to revisit that, and also there are a number of things that we have to get to. Billy Gill is bringing back a segment that has been missed.
The Music Dome.
Oh, wow.
That is not the one.
Oh.
No interest in the Music Dome. But
I love that segment, though.
Before we get to not that segment, a different segment, and before we get to the Brennaman sound, we have a letter from a concerned listener. Look at how happy Whittingham is. Whittingham is so happy to go to a mailbox, pick out something that has been sent with a stamp, open it up, and we get a lot of letters around here. And
We don't get enough as far as I'm concerned. I have now decided I will no longer take any criticism of the show via the usual platforms, Twitter, Instagram, my friends texting me, the Le Batard Reddit.
Your friends text you criticism?
Yeah. So I will not be taking
I know.
any criticism via any other media. I'm not reading my Twitter replies anymore. Done. I will only take criticism via the medium of letters sent to the studio. If you want to send a letter to the studio, I am promising you right now, I will read it.
Yes.
Wow, a promise.
Don't promise that.
No, I'm promising.
Whittingham
I
does-
dare you, audience, people under 30. I dare you to send me a letter.
That
Figure out
person's
how.
not under
Wait
30.
until you see how many letters start pouring into this.
You know what?
place.
I'm reading every last
Seriously.
one of them because they are concerned listeners. They put the time, the energy. This man, I'm not going to show it to the camera because it has his address, zip code, and email on it. But I am going to read this person's feedback on the air.
Where's he from?
And I am going to read every single piece of feedback we get via letter.
You have to
'Cause
say his
it's
name.
effort.
You have to say his name and city, though.
Yeah,
It's
his
a-
name
it's
is
a staple.
Rob in
Yes.
Spencer, Indiana.
Okay, that's fine. How about faxes? Are you taking those?
I don't. We,
We
don't
don't
have
have
a
a fax
fax
I
machine.
mean, if
machine.
someone can figure
No
it
one
out,
has a
though,
fax
I mean,
machine. Faxes aren't
no,
used
there's still
anymore.
fax machines.
Honestly,
I'm telling you right now.
I might ask Bob if he can figure out get us set up with a fax machine.
We should
Of
do
course you
that,
could.
actually. We should
Yep.
only take criticisms via fax. Like, let's buy a fax machine, give out our fax number, and you have to fax us.
Yes.
I love this
criticism.
idea.
Yeah.
Make
I'm
it
gonna tell
very
Bob.
make it very difficult.
Birthday Bob.
Yep.
A complaint line. You guys want to go back into the 80s?
It's too easy. I mean,
What, sending a fax is too easy?
no. Dan wanted a complaint line.
No, complaint line.
Right,
No, I
it's
don't want
too
phone
easy.
calls.
I,
All
no,
right,
no,
phone
I'm not
calls.
saying a complaint
It's like
line
mailing it in.
like a phone line. I mean turning a fax machine into just a receptacle for hatred, turning that into the line to the show, lifeline to the show. You want to spit bile and poison and acid at us. This is the way to do it. Is it a long letter, Whittingham? What is
No,
the
it's fairly brief. Again, this is from Rob in Spencer, Indiana. Rob says, Greg Cody Tuesday used to be my favorite day of the week, but with Dan and Chris constantly attacking everything Greg says or does, it has gotten to the point I spend the entire show dreading either of them saying anything. Chris is especially petulant and childish in his behavior toward his father. No matter what Greg says, Chris is going to attack, belittle, make fun of, or just childishly put down. And it is fairly obvious why. Maybe have Chris take the day off when Greg is going to be on. Something needs to be done. It isn't fun or funny anymore. Signed, Rob in Spencer, Indiana.
Did Greg send that?
Greg Cody's alias? Chris Cody is mean to his dad. I like that dynamic. I never want Chris out because your dad embarrasses you more than anybody. I know. It's great. It can be great entertainment to see an adult son ashamed of his father and extra sensitive about his father's behavior.
What's your excuse?
What's the excuse?
Well, he said you're mean to him too. I mean, it's you and Chris, both of you. Like, I'm with you. I understand why Chris is doing it. He's embarrassed by his dad's actions. But I love his dad. Billy loves his dad. I think most people on this show and the audience have grown to love Greg Cody. And I'm just wondering, as I lose my voice, what's your excuse?
Careers can be made around here on the joke of just annoy Dan.
Oh, it's a good excuse.
True.
I don't think we're getting that fax machine, by the way. Bob looked at me like I was a crazy person. And Tyner also.
The fax machine business has to be hurting.
No, it's doing fine.
I think the fax machine now is folded into printers.
No, you're wrong. I'm looking it up. I'm telling you, fax machines had one of its all-time great sales years last year. I'll check it out. I'm being serious.
Fax machines died when National Signing
You're
Day
wrong.
turned into a pre-commit situation.
There are some offices, I am telling you right now, and some major companies that still use fax. I was just reading a story about this, and I was reading the reasons why. I don't remember it, but I'm telling you right now.
Well, we're gonna bring back Stugotz's likes on Twitter. I heard that it is being worked on, and they've already got you, so you're not going to be able to go back now and fix it because you've got years worth of likes. You stopped paying attention, and
I was hacked.
This was always something that was a lot of fun. But let's bring back, before we get to a segment that was very popular with Billy, just let me hear how it is that Tom Brennaman's career ended as the Reds broadcaster.
Castellanos to lead things off. Jim Day's going to be taking us the rest of the way through this game as Holland takes over on the mound. I made a comment earlier tonight that I guess went out over the air that I am deeply ashamed of. If I have hurt anyone out there, I can't tell you how much I say from the bottom of my heart. I'm so very, very sorry. I pride myself and think of myself as a man of faith. As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be a home run. And so that'll make it a 4-0 ball game. I don't know if I'm going to be putting on this headset again. I don't know if it's going to be for the Reds. I don't know if it's going to be for my bosses at Fox. I'm going to apologize for the people who signed my paycheck, for the Reds, for Fox Sports Ohio, for the people I work with, for anybody that I've offended here tonight. I can't begin to tell you how deeply sorry I am.
Generations of broadcasting died on the saddest note possible because it's not just that the home run was delivered with no enthusiasm. Because it was during the pandemic, there was no one there. You can tell that no one is there, that he is in a studio alone with the end of his career.
I think that game was in Anaheim, too. So he must have been in a studio, not watching a game unfold in front of him. From what the pictures look like, it looked like it was in Anaheim. But, yeah, that is a very sad way. You're just in front of nobody. You're doing games that everyone's questioning. Why is this even happening? You're just getting to a finish line of a baseball season, and you're alone. You're in a studio, and you're handing it off to Jim Day.
Stugotz, during the middle of that, winced and shrunk. And I don't know if it was from the sound or whether or not he finally came upon his fax machine information and realized that he was wrong.
No, I was right. Sales were up 4.93% last year. It's a massive market, over $100 million market, Dan. And I'm telling you, it had its best year in large part because of organizational stuff within the office. All the federal buildings still use it, and because of COVID, it had sort of a resurgence of sorts. And I'm telling you, I have from a very credible source, by the way, a business magazine. I'm going to send Whittingham the report here because I can't make out all the numbers. But I am telling you, fax machines I can't make out all the numbers. Fax machines had one of its best sales years. There's a lot of math involved here, Billy, okay?
$100 million market is not great.
Yeah.
It is for fax machines. You would agree, right? You would think it would be less than that.
There is no market in the United States of America where if you say it's $100 million market, that it's a big market for a product that can be used ubiquitously by 330 million people.
I'm just telling you, a lot of offices are using it. The feds are using it. D.C. is using it. And the fax machine market is supposed to grow every year until 2028. Like, they're not dead yet, is all I'm saying.
What's the source, Stugotz?
Yeah.
Faxmachines.com.
Oh,
there you go. He was
Time for Billy's epic sound of the day.
Time now for Guillermo's epic sound of the day. It is going to be epic.
Hey, guys.
What made you decide to do this?
Billy.
Exciting.
Have you guys heard of Channing Crowder?
Yeah, I saw this.
Formerly of Coop and Crowder?
Ah, yes. Great show.
560 WQAM.
Got a ton of potential, those two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you heard of him?
Yes.
He also used to play in the NFL, Dan, on the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, yeah.
Well, since then, he's gone on to co-host First Take just this week.
What?
But when he's not co-hosting First Take with Ruben Crowder, he's on the Pivot podcast with Ryan Clark and Fred Taylor. This week, they had a special guest, Kevin Hart. And Kevin Hart found out about something that Channing and his wife like to do.
So me and my wife go to a nudist colony. Like once a year, we go to a nudist colony.
What's going on?
Yeah, that's we go to a place where like you walk in and everybody just gets naked and walks
I heard you
around.
said
I didn't know if you knew this.
No, I'm just asking you what's going on.
Okay, yeah, so we go to the nudist colony and you know we just kind of go around. You got to shave everything and show out, and especially when you shave your shit, it looks bigger because you gain inches from no hair.
Back up for a second. I just want to get clarity. Y'all just hanging out, or y'all f***ing these people? Like, what's
No, there are swingers there. But you set the precedent.
I get
when
that.
you get there.
I don't know why you're not listening to me. I want to know, what do y'all get down, is what you're saying.
It's kind of the question, but we don't get down, but we just like to be around naked people together.
You see what I'm doing, bro? I'm out of
Hey,
there.
that's y'all two conversation. I'm a drink. Happy days.
We just like to be around naked people. The one thing that gets me.
You hear what you're saying out loud, brother?
I hear what I'm saying out loud. The one thing that gets me is just eating. Like breakfast.
What you eating, Chan?
I don't want, they're at the buffet, your dick's by my eggs. I don't want your dick by my eggs. I eat coochie. I don't want coochie by my eggs, even though I eat coochie and eggs. This is my Kevin Hart delivery.
Yeah, I'm still at the point of you just saying we just like to be around naked people.
You don't like to be around naked people?
Be honest with you, I have no desire to be around a bunch of people I don't know just sitting there naked. That's what I said.
But some people, but the women, you better strip club.
I'm willing to bet. Women. As a matter of fact, I'm willing to bet a good number. It ain't a lot of put together people going to these little things.
No.
I'm willing to bet you.
No, hippies.
I'm willing to bet a real strong number that you're looking at some bad bodies out there. And that's a fact.
Discouraged.
Still nipples, titties, and coochie.
You're free spirit.
Oh, I just want around. Yeah.
You and your wife are free spirit.
We're free spirits.
Got it.
She likes the tan. And it's not like I'm 6'3", but I just got a 6'3" dick. I don't have a 6'7" dick. Like, it's not impressive. It's normal.
I don't know what that means. And I don't want you to keep going.
Jessica, why is your head buried in your hands? Please put this on the poll, Guillermo, at Le Batard Show. Do you ever shave everything and show out?
I'm going to just pull a Ryan Clark and say, this is y'all's conversation.
Eggs, huh?
Fred Taylor also checked out of that conversation. I love that Channing Crowder is becoming a star. And I love that Channing Crowder has not considered when he says to Kevin Hart, well, don't you like strip clubs, that most people who go to strip clubs don't then they themselves get naked while sitting there and watching unless they're in the champagne room.
Even then, I mean.
Yes, but as we all know, there's no sex in the champagne room.
Right.
Yes, thank you, Roy.
You're welcome.
Shave everything and show out. Channing Crowder is
Good week
there.
for management to be in town. Bringing back this clip, huh? I went across the hall. He turned off the speaker, hoping that would prevent this from happening.
Did you really?
I did.
I assumed that you brought. I thought
you would turn it up.
I assume that because DraftKings is in town and because management is in town, that is why the epic sound of the day made a reappearance for the first time.
I was
in
praying
about 6
we did this at
years.
8 a.m. when no one was here. I'm like, please, let's just get this out of the way before people show up.
By the way, Stugotz vastly underestimated the fax machine market.
Did I?
The global fax
The
machine
numbers were
market
very confusing to me. I'm telling you. That's why I sent it to you.
was
Thank you.
valued at $1,032.31 million. So that's actually 1.03 billion US dollars.
That's what's confused me. I'm telling you. Thank you.
And will grow with a CAGR, I presume that's some sort of adjusted growth rate, at 4.9% from 2021 to 2027.
Do you get a fine for reading the internet wrong?
But I was right in the overall. I mean,
it's a
apologize.
rare. It's a rare hurting thing where Stugotz gets to be right, but he owes $5.
It has to be different though now, right?
You are right.
That's so wrong,
It
man.
sounds like you're right, but you read the internet wrong.
Like fax machines still don't make the noise though, do they? Like it
I
has
hope
to
they
fix.
do. It's not a fax machine unless they do.
It must still make the noise, right? How have they not been able? Put it on the poll, Guillermo. What's stranger that we haven't been able to eliminate the noise on, the fax machine or the leaf blower?
Oh, I thought you were going to say the rotating car alarm. You know the car alarm that's on old school cars that goes,
Right.
It makes the same rhythmic sound. I kind of miss it. I actually think we sort of have eradicated, but there's the odd like 2008 Toyota Tercel that makes that noise, and it reminds me of a better time.
I'm sorry, Stugotz, that you got fined for that.
But I was right.
You
though.
were right. It hurts. that
And
you
the
were fined for
projections,
that.
like you should read 2027, 2028. Like it's going up by 4 or 5% per year.
When you said that the fax machine had a great year,
Yeah.
I immediately dismissed it, scoffed, laughed, and then I remembered the last time I went to a doctor's office.
Yep.
Yeah. Fax machines are going to be around for a while. It's going to take them decades to crawl out of that technological hole that most hospitals are working with right now.
But why? Why is it taking like DocuSign exists? How have we not how are not all of our medical records digital at this point?
I just read online that law offices and healthcare providers still rely on the fax machine because it's harder to hack into for sensitive documents. I don't know if that's true. I read it on the internet. It could be a load of shit, but it sounds right.
I think Stugotz, even though it cost him money, deserves his imaging there because even though I hate for you that this time of celebration is making you part with the thing in the world that you love the most.
Right. But I'll gladly pay for it. I don't mind paying to be right, Dan.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Would you pay $5 to be right?
I won Powerball last night. I mean, I'm good.
Mega Millions,
whatever.
Stugotz was right? Holy Stugotz was right.
I want to go back to the leaf blower for a second because you were so right to ask that question about the sound. The leaf blower scares the daylights out of my dog, and there has to be something we can do. I'm telling you, my dog has the worst reaction to the leaf blower. It will destroy my dog's entire day. And there need to be upgrades where we can silence those things or at least change the sound.
It has to be the most efficient noise in the inefficient noise in the world. It is like moving a leaf with an airboat, an Everglades airboat. It doesn't make any sense the way that we're doing this.
We don't need them though, right? Like we don't need to push leaf from point A to point B. What is the purpose of it?
I think you do. I think it's
to make a cleaner path is the purpose of it. To get
use
it,
a
but you
rake?
can sweep, you can rake.
No,
yes.
no, this is
Who
America,
wants
Jack.
to rake? I mean,
I don't know what this is America Jack means.
No, we're too lazy to use rakes. That's too much work.
We have to use something that requires fuel and harms everybody.
It's part of the process.
Yes,
no.
right.
Well, there's electric ones now. So.
But no one wants to take the rake out. No one wants to rake leaves in 2020. No one wants to rake, period.
Well, you
except
leaf
Mike
blow,
Trout.
you leaf blow, then you kind of get them close enough, and then you rake, and then you make it in a pile, and then your dog jumps into it.
Putting the debris into the bag, the brown bag, is the worst part of doing any sort of gardening, right?
Yes.
It always falls out. Those bags aren't wide enough.
Right.
It's
Right.
bullshit. You spill twigs and leaves everywhere, and then you have to pick them up again.
Do it by
takes
yourself.
like 4 tries to get all of the debris into the recycling bag. It's just the worst.
Are leaf blowers a bit like jet skis in that perhaps the first time you get on one, you're like, yeah, this is great. And then you're about 30 minutes in and you're like, okay, that's enough. I've had about enough of that. This was a bad purchase.
You don't like jet skis?
I do like jet skis for 30 minutes.
Right. And then you regret it.
I don't
I'm with
regret
Dan.
it. I don't regret it. I just maybe 45 minutes, but that's about it.
I feel that way about boats in general. Sorry to
Really?
interrupt, Billy.
Right.
Like for me, when I've been on a boat for like a little less than an hour, I'm like, I'm good. I got the experience. We're out in the open water.
You can't even get out of like the bay in 30 minutes.
He's got to get back to read letters.
You should go on the Thriller. Have you ever been on the Thriller?
Oh, the Thriller, yeah.
No, I have not.
Oh, my
What is-
God.
What is the Thriller?
Head on over to
Speedboat.
Bayside. Get on the Thriller. It'll take you on a nice little journey around Star Island. You'll get some music. It'll tell you some houses of the rich and famous. I don't know how true it is that they actually live there or don't. And then it'll take you right up through the canal where the cruise ships are. And then you hit the gas. And then you're flying. And then they take you out into the ocean and you're hitting waves and it's great. And then they take you out to like 10th. You can see wave to the Cleveland. Hey, Dan, hey, Stugotz, you're over there. I'm on the Thriller. And then you go back. It's awesome.
Wait, is this the boat that has like the mouth with the teeth on it?
Is it a cigarette boat?
Sort of.
Yeah.
My favorite gun.
There's one of these boats that like it has some sort of crazy mean looking face on it, Billy.
Yeah, that's not the Thriller. The Thriller, okay, there's a couple Thrillers. There's a yellow Thriller. There's a neon green Thriller. There's a white Thriller. I think there used to be a red Thriller, but I'm not entirely sure. And then there's a green one that's called the Hurricane also that's similar to the Thriller, but it's a little smaller and it'll take you more into the bay than the Thriller does. But you want to do the Thriller. Oh, look, Whit is looking at the Thriller right now. It's exciting. You should do it. And it's only like 30 minutes, so it'll be your quota of time on a boat. But, man, you can fly on that thing. Dan, you been on the Thriller?
I've not been on the Thriller. I have been on
Let's go
some
together.
I've been on some of those tours. Yes, Billy, let's go together, you and me.
And Whitty has to come. Did you also see, by the way, speaking of jet skis, there's this boat now that is just sitting on top of 2 jet skis. And it looks like an all-terrain vehicle on the water, and it's just mounted on 2 jet skis. Seems
What?
dangerous, yeah.
Just general Miami waste and
But
ridiculousness.
can you use the jet skis or?
Yeah, that's what propels you in the water.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And who's sitting in the boat?
It seems
You
cool. Yeah.
You mentioned Star Island in the least affordable housing market anywhere in America, which is what Miami is. I believe Star Island is the most expensive parcels that we have. And I also believe that the biggest parcel on Star Island belongs to the head of Pfizer, who accidentally made boner pills when trying to do heart
You
medication.
learned that on the Thriller.
That's correct. I learned it on
Wow.
a tour, not on the Thriller. But I also learned that there are like $17 million in trees around that property. Like some absurd thing. Each tree is flown
From
in.
across the pond, yeah.
Just a mistake on boner pills ends up being our most impressive piece of real estate.
Do you ever go looking on Zillow and just see like what are the most expensive places in your area? I think there's like a whole entire villa in Brickell that's the most expensive place in Miami right now. It's selling for like $98 million. And I always wonder, like, all right, so you've bought a $98 million property. Do you like go to the Pottery Barn to furnish it, or do you got a Pottery Barn? Yeah. And like
That is not a Pier 1. No,
right, exactly. Are you going to IKEA to get some stuff? Or
You're
do you
not
have to, like,
furnishing your own home. You're getting somebody
someone
who's
does it.
professional.
Stores you've
Beginning of the
never heard
expenditure.
of.
You
Whitney.
have an
Yeah.
interior designer. I mean, you're not doing it. If you're buying that kind of house, you don't do it.
You're getting like bespoke imported furniture from France. You're not going to a store where they're mass producing desks and chairs.
It's a sofa made out of infant skin that you're having imported from some exotic land.
You're probably right. But I do wonder, like, what's the price point? What's the price point at which?
That's where you draw the line, Billy.
Right there.
That's where the line is, Billy.
I'm not a fan of infant skin pouches.
Billy is different now. Billy came back from vacation and he was muttering about vacation with kids, not the same as vacation used to be. Vacation will never be the same. Now we found the line for Billy Gill. The line is infant skin.
Vacation with kids is harder than being at work. It is work. It's a lot of work. No, I'm serious. Billy, I've done it. Listen, I've been through it. You go on a cruise with kids, that is a lot of work. Like, you can't wait to get back to work. I'm serious.
It wasn't even the cruise. Last week I went away and my daughter got sick while we were on the trip. Yeah. And obviously we were in the same room. So then like 6:30 bedtime for the baby turned into 6:30 bedtime for everybody.
Yeah.
So I couldn't really watch anything. I had to turn off the TV. Then the baby was sick. We came back, took her to the doctor. It was the whole thing. You know what I mean?
In there.
Yeah.
No good vacation? Ruined vacation?
Not ruined. I mean, but, 103 fever, very, very serious. We had to, give her a bath 4:30 in the morning, get it down. Yeah. I had a whole conversation with your mom the other day, actually, Dan, about what you do with children when they have very high fevers. She told me they used to have high fevers.
I think she'd throw me in like an ice bath or something.
Yeah, that's what she told me. She'd put you in an ice bath. And then
I was 43.
Yes, we're back.
So Billy, when you need parenting advice, you just give Dan's mom a call?
She actually called me to ask me how Yard House was the other day and asked me if we want to picadillo next time because the general manager of Yard House or the owner of Yard House makes picadillo for Dan's dad specifically when they go and was wondering if we would want the same treatment.
My father, who claims that all his celebrity has ever gotten him is half a tuna sandwich in Pembroke Pines. I went to meet them at Yard House the other day, and they had a nameplate that said Boppy and Mommy on it.
I got a whole story about how the owner goes into the kitchen, cooks meals for your dad that are not even on the menu.
That's correct.
Wow.
But she was calling you, and I imagine that you're calling. There's no manuals for this. I suppose there are books you can read, but you're asking a bunch of people questions on things that make an appearance daily that you don't know about the raising of children.
Yeah,
right?
Two parents just cutting it up, me and your mom, just talking about raising kids and how things are done.
Because Dan turned out so well. I mean, I'm being serious. He did.
When you say that, it's with a sarcastic.
Yeah,
I did not do that.
tone.
I wasn't even looking at you. I was looking.
The tone was bad.
I looked Dan straight in the eye when I said it. It was a cheap shot.
You didn't look in my eye.
I can't look in your eye.
You're still not looking in my eye.
I'm not going to look in your eye the rest of the day.
Billy, on vacation, is this where you almost lost a body part?
That was the end of the week. So last week I was on vacation, and then my daughter got sick. We came back. We went to the doctor, and then I almost lost a toe this weekend.
Jeez.
Which toe?
The big one. My big right toe.
The great toe?
The great toe, yeah. Oh, God, I hope it doesn't turn into Greg's toe. Have you guys ever lost a limb? Well, no, I would assume you haven't lost a limb.
You would know.
Any of you been close to losing an appendage or anything? A digit?
Well, what happened to you before you asked this question? Greg Cody says he may have dropped a bowling ball on his bare foot. It looks like it. It looks like that toe is so black and purple and awful that the nail is going to fall off. What happened to you?
I was moving a dishwasher in sandals, like lifting it, which was a big mistake. And then this like metal plate came off. And then when I was going to put down said dishwasher, the metal plate dug into the tip of my toe, not the tip, like right underneath my toenail. And then I didn't feel it at first. It's like when you stub your toe, you don't feel it at first. So then all of a sudden I feel this sharp pain and I look down and I see this metal plate is just sticking out of my foot. And I'm like, hold on, we should lift this up and take this out of my foot. And then we did that, and then we put it down, and then I started bleeding, and I thought I could have lost that toe today.
Did you just say that you don't feel when you stub a toe? That there's
like a second, there's a split second
delay,
where it happens.
But you know that second's awful. That's second.
Because you know the pain's coming.
And
yes,
it is rare that the pain takes that long to arrive somewhere.
But the thing is, Dan, as you know, I'm an adrenaline junkie. So as soon as you go through trauma, the adrenaline kicks in and you don't feel the pain right away. So I saw this piece of metal connected to a dishwasher sticking out of my toe, and then I lifted it, and I said I need to first I put on whatever it's called, the stuff that you put in, it foams on your foot when it like burns up the acid or whatever.
Is it hydrogen peroxide?
Yeah, I put hydrogen peroxide on there to make sure that I didn't get an infection and that I wouldn't lose the toe. And then I thought, you know what, this is really going to hurt later. And then sure enough, for like, the next couple of days, every time I walked, it was killing me.
Didn't Stugotz have a story that involved accidentally taking shots of hydrogen peroxide because he thought it was vodka in college or something?
I did. I was getting my ear pierced in college at Clark University, and there was a desk full of shots. So I was told to clean the backing of the earring before I put it in my ear, and I put it in a shot of hydrogen peroxide that was on the desk. I stumbled over that.
Okay?
But there were also, I'm okay, mini stroke, but I also had like 50 shots of vodka on the same desk, and I made the mistake of drinking the wrong shot. And so I drank it, then my mouth started to foam up, and then I spent the entire night in the emergency room, Clark University.
But that's not even the story you told me. When I told you I almost lost a toe, you said I lost an earlobe once.
Well, I did.
And I said you did not. I see that you have 2 earlobes. And then Tony's like, I lost 4 fingers. And
first
no, you
off,
haven't lost anything.
Let's everything slow down.
It became a contest behind the scenes of who lost more things.
But Dan is right in asking me to tell that story because that actually happened in college. The story with my ear, which I have told on the air before, is my brother and I were playing hockey in the basement, and my left earlobe became unattached. My brother hit me in the ear, and there was blood everywhere. And I went upstairs, and it was dangling and hanging from my face. It was. It's stitched back on. I'm telling you. Crazy.
You saying
Frantic
I'm telling
scene.
you doesn't mean much to me.
Well, I mean,
it just
he
feels
was
like
right
one of
about
those
the
things
fax
where like
machines.
it felt really bad at the time, but
Right.
it probably wasn't actually hanging from your ear.
No, it absolutely was. It was dangling from my ear. I'm telling you. I had
But
to
it
go to the
always
emergency
is. That's
room.
its job.
No, but it was dangling like off the face, like it was just hanging, and there was blood everywhere. He got me with a stick check. 5-minute major. Yeah. Yeah.
For how long did you have an earring?
Like 18 months, something like that. Looked cool at the time. Felt cool at the time. Wasn't really that cool.
Should we bring it back?
I'm not bringing it back.
Ed Bradley over here.
I don't want to do that.
Rid of
again.
death punishment?
Not for me.
I mean, why not? You wouldn't pay
Get
it
an ear
anyway.
piercing. That's a good grid of death punishment. I'll pick that one.
But you do that, right? Like you have to wash the backing, correct?
Yeah, you're supposed
Make sure
to.
it's clean.
You're supposed to maintain proper hygiene with your
Right.
piercings. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had an earring for one day, Daytona, went drinking, got an earring, came home, and my father said that I was never to return to the home again if I kept the earring.
Was it a hoop or was it a stud?
It was just a stud.
What'd you do?
I had a stud.
You had a gauge? Wow.
I took out the earring.
Oh.
I was 39 years old.
We're back.
It's just that's such a bad joke.
I love it, man. I love it.
Didn't see it coming.
I was telling Dan yesterday that Better Call Saul has found its fly episode.
No, I disagree.
Really?
That was a good episode.
No. It
I
was a
thought it
waste of my
was so
time.
good. What?
I
A
didn't.
waste of your time.
The Fly was the worst episode of Breaking Bad. Yeah, I was about a third of the way in, and I was like, okay, this is not going.
Oh,
well.
you pulled out.
Yeah, I
just
continued
interrupt
watching,
this.
but I was like, oh.
I thought it was good, Roy. Are we doing content right now? We could talk about this.
Well, I'm wondering though, Roy, when you have the worst, that's your favorite show of all time, Breaking Bad.
Right.
I still have your DVD set, by the way. at
Yes,
my
you do.
house.
You're getting to it?
If I haven't gotten to it by now, I'm not getting
Oh,
to
really?
it.
So
I don't think so.
What about
give it back
Peyton's
then.
places?
Well,
or-
that's the exception.
Okay.
I mean, for Peyton, I will get to it. But I'm wondering, so you can have a bad episode within a great series. Was it still a good episode?
It was a good episode, but I mean, it was a waste of time. Really?
No,
my
it
opinion.
wasn't. I think there's going to be more to that storyline.
I would hope so. I would hope that it would lead to something.
I listened to the Breaking Bad or the Better Call Saul Insider podcast, and they talked about it's mainly just for like film people who want to hear about how they got certain shots and like wrote certain things and lit certain scenes, stuff like that. Yeah, nerds, yes, Billy. But they did say that the character who played the guy Jeff, his storyline may not be over. They kind of implied that there was going to be more to come with that storyline. So I don't know, Roy. I think there might be more to it that we just haven't seen yet.
You mentioned that podcast. The one thing that I noticed about Better Call Saul throughout its run is the use of the GoPro camera. They've actually done a good job with that type of camera. They're just sticking on like objects like Carol Burnett's little scooter that they use.
Carol Burnett. Yeah. How can you say an episode was a skipper for you if Carol Burnett was one of the guest stars?
I mean, she was pretty good in that one.
She was great.
How old is Carol Burnett? I did not know. I know that Dick Van Dyke is still alive, and I was surprised by that. I did not know that Carol Burnett was still working. I told you guys recently the Bear on Hulu is a lot of stressful television, and they've got one 20-minute episode that was really creatively shot that was maximum stressful. It was 19 minutes is all it was, and it was exceptional.
She's 89 years old.
Better Call Saul, you're alleging, Roy, because one of the magical things about Breaking Bad to me, as I've told you, is I didn't think there was anything bad in it, but the Fly episode is considered the weakest of them, even though many people thought it was artful for a lot of different reasons. I'm stunned that you didn't make it to the end of any episode of Better Call Saul, given how you have introduced everybody around here to that television, all of it, not just Better Call Saul, but Breaking Bad. You were telling us about it for it long before it was popular.
I finished it, and I would explain it that way. It was the weakest episode of the show's run, in my opinion. It was just basically Saul saying, "Hey, I still get it." That whole plan they had with the character in there.
You don't think it's gonna backfire? You don't think it's gonna set up part of like a big finale? Because I think it is. I think there's really no spoilers from this episode because it kind of took place in a future timeline. But I think that there's going to be some fallout from what happened in that episode, but we just haven't seen it yet. And I also thought that Jerry from Parks and Rec, Jim O'Hare,
yes,
he was amazing. He played a security guard, and what part of the stunt that Jimmy /Saul/Gene was pulling was that he needed to distract the security guard for 3 minutes. So he was giving him Cinnabons, and so Jim O'Hare had to eat these Cinnabons for every take, and the creators of the show said like they have certain tricks for getting the actor to not have to actually eat all the food and swallow all of it, and so someone would like take a piece of it out of his hand, or he'd put it behind his head, or put it in a bucket or whatever. But this actor actually had to eat a shit ton of Cinnabons while filming this episode, and so I thought that was an amazing factoid.
This genre of new entertainment where you can take deep micro dives on the things that you like in podcast form, because all of HBO Max's stuff has appendage podcasts where if you want more about this thing that we get you addicted to, here's yet more behind the scenes information on this. Do you guys partake in that genre of podcast very much beyond Better Call Saul? Like, are there many places where you will want yet more information on your favorite things? You want the people who made the stuff to explain to you how they made the stuff, because it is a stream of revenue that has popped out in entertainment that simply wasn't there before, where you can grab so much of the stuff while you're filming and double dip on content by just belching out podcasts that fans of something would love to follow more closely.
I did with the CNN show, the story of late night, or the history of late night. They had a little supplemental podcast they did, and I thought it was pretty good. It was just added content to the actual show.
I'm all over it, Dan. All the HBO shows now have a podcast stream to go with it. So it's starting with I can't remember what the first one was, but basically they all do now. And I think for me, when I started watching Game of Thrones back in 2012, whenever that show started, I felt like I was me and my sister were the only people I knew who really watched it. And I was like, I kind of want more out of this. So I'd go on the Game of Thrones Reddit or like whatever, chat rooms, stuff like that on the internet. And then like getting in podcast form became so much easier because it's just easier to have it all condensed into like 45 minutes. So then I started listening to Binge Mode, which was the Ringer podcast that Mallory and Jason Concepcion did, which was so good, and they went so in depth on all the episodes. And now if I really like a show, like I'll listen to as many things about it as I can. And why I like the Better Call Saul one is because they do get into the technical aspects, which a lot of these shows don't. A lot of it is like fans analyzing plot lines and storylines and like acting performances. But this one gives you like a little bit of a technical analysis, which I think is really cool if you're someone who's interested in film and TV.
But the reason why I think the media companies themselves are doing it is because this was a market that fans were taking. And there were a lot of shows that would go episode by episode. I actually still think that there is one on The West Wing that's going. They just do one a week, and because there were so many episodes, the podcast can last for several years. But it was a market that fans were taking. People were obsessed with shows. They wanted a platform to talk about it. And the companies, why are we giving them the money from our stuff? Why don't we just create something and we sell it at the end of every episode you watch on streaming?
And now they've got, like, HBO's gotten really good at like casting who's hosting these shows. Like for the Gilded Age, one of my guilty pleasures. I love Julian Fellowes shows. Don't judge me, but I love the Gilded Age.
Too late.
They had the host of one of the nerdiest podcasts that I listen to. It's called The Bowery Boys. It's these two guys who live in New York, and they talk about like New York City history. And I love them. And they got one of them to host the accompanying podcast. And oh my God, it was my favorite hour of every week. I'd watch the Gilded Age Monday night, and then I'd listen to it Tuesday morning, and I'd just be like drinking a tea, listening to the behind the scenes on the
How
Gilded
happy
Age.
you are.
Oh, I love
mean,
it.
Jesus.
They're doing the same thing with Fake Doctors, Real Friends, the Scrubs rewatch show with Zach Braff and Don Faison. That's actually an excellent show. Like, it got to the point where they're actually going to end up redoing Scrubs. Probably a movie, I believe.
Weren't you a guest on that podcast?
I was.
Yeah, that's why.
Were you really?
Yeah.
The thing that I want to ask you guys, as so much of entertainment changes right now during your time, whether it's you being able to construct now your own newspaper / news source / echo chamber by picking and choosing what your facts are, as more and more things pour into your content life, I gotta think that the audience that is partaking in these dives must love the ability to just go and grab a bunch of different things that can further feed your fandom, so you don't get stuck with what's happened to Netflix, which is a lot of people are now realizing, hey, I love that we had that many options, but these options now, many of them are not good enough. And as everyone comes into the space, all these makers, all of them compete on excellence, the being able to parse the consumer dollar, as we're more addicted than ever to being able to instantly gratify and grab what we want. No commercials. I'll watch what I want. I don't have to wait anymore for the appointed time of television. I'm going to do this how I want to do it. To be able to that finally make your choices on entertainment and have so many choices. Do any of you find that overwhelming right now with everyone who's competing for your attention here? Because these monsters and Apple and Google and Amazon that can spill money all over the place are just making so much stuff that you have a dizzying array of options.
I find it confusing. At times I find it intimidating. I'm being serious because I don't know what to start. I don't know what's coming out next. I don't know when the next season is. It's why I like network television. Sometimes, like just watching,
just the laziest way. Just keep it the way you've been doing it.
Well, it's reliable. It's every Tuesday. It's 9:00. There are no fans talking about it afterwards. There's no podcast I feel a need to go listen to afterwards to get a breakdown of the episode I just watched. I'm watching FBI International. I mean, it's pretty simple. I don't need someone to talk about it afterwards, okay? There's the FBI. There's a bad person out there. They're going to find him in the end. It's going to have a happy ending. I don't need to break it down. I watch the show. I'm entertained for 60 minutes, and I wait 7 days. And you know what happens in 7 days? A brand new, fresh episode comes out on CBS. It's cathartic. I am telling you. You guys are doing it wrong.
No.
Sometimes too much is too much.
Those shows are invented for that, though. They're different types of shows. Like, you're talking about the weekly procedural crime drama where you can drop in any episode of the season. You don't need to know what happened in the week before, and you don't care what happens in the week after.
Right.
You're just listening to what's happening that week. these shows are written for people who are more fans of a cinematic experience, and they want to be able to follow along a storyline and an arc for an entire season and see a beginning, middle, and after of a character. And then maybe you'll get a spinoff, and then maybe they'll see what happened like in Better Call Saul before the timeline of the original show.
Right.
I'm sorry to the audio audience that does not know why Roy was laughing, but Jessica was talking so much with her hands that her hands were very close to Whittingham's glasses.
Close to slapping the taste out of his mouth. Man.
Do you guys ever feel bad when you binge a show?
That
I
it's,
don't like
that it's
binging a
over.
show.
That it's over. Not guilt about enjoying something.
I feel bad in this sense. So, like, I binged Rutherford Falls season 2 in, like, a day because it was, like, 8 to 10 episodes or something, right? And then I was done. And then I was thinking, man, it took these people months of work to get these, like, 8 episodes done. And, like, they were in there every day writing. They were in there, you know, acting, take after take, doing all these things to make this perfection, this art for them, right? And, like, I'm done with it in 4 hours, and like I'm gonna be on to the next thing. I'm going to Netflix. I'm gonna watch Big Timber because there's a new season of that out now.
I have that
But
feeling.
you're watching.
I have that exact feeling when my wife cooks.
Really?
It takes her like 30 minutes to cook, and it takes you 2 minutes.
No, it's all fresh ingredients and stuff, and I snort it with one through
Spending all day.
through one nostril.
That's really funny.